Button, Hill, Alonso and Kovalainen, the names of the drivers who had their breakthrough in Budapest, winning their first Grand Prix right here. We're about 12 miles northeast of the bustling Hungarian capital of Budapest. We have 14 corners that comprise the Hungaroring, and they are all steeped in history and prestige. Overtaking has always been tough around here. It's a technical 2.7-mile track. The last few years in particular have been dramatic. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And it's Esteban Ocon in P2. Considering the rest of the grid we have Doohan, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Richards, Leclerc, Gasly, Norris, Liam Lawson, Sainz, Stroll, Sargent, Teo Porcher, Bottas, Tsunoda, Hauger, Joe, Perez, Ricciardo, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. With me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Let's talk about Richards. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances. But what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another good race today.
OK, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please. Right is good, gearbox is responding normally. Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and brakes throughout the lap, please. Copy. Confirmed. Leclerc is behind you. Albon just ahead. Push for that position. Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts. Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights. Piastri's ahead of you. Overtake button more, it's time to utilise some of this energy, come on. I didn't catch that, mate, just say it again. Russell's ahead of you now. Okay, gap ahead is 0.9 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are just one lap old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. And the time last lap was a 1:30.2. Got that confirmed. Verstappen behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are just 1 lap old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Your last lap time was a 1:30.5. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Car behind started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it. Ocon ahead, and gap to the car in front is 5.6 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Time last lap was a 1:23.4. Okay, you're dropping back by around 2 tenths each lap. Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected. Dry's definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Ocon is ahead of you. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 5.2 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. And the time last lap was a 1:23.4. Okay, copy that. Jack's behind you. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 6 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Your last lap time was a 1:24.4. Ocon ahead. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 4.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 8 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Time last lap was a 1:23.6. Okay, so you're gaining by around 6 tenths a lap. Jack behind. Our gap behind is 3.6 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. And the time last lap was a 1:24.2. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Tyre condition still looking good. Ocon is ahead of you. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 5.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 11 laps old now. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Your last lap time was 1 minute 23.8. You're losing around 1.6 seconds. Okay, you have 3 stops remaining, 3 stops left in this strategy, and that's 6 laps until your pit window's open. Russell behind. Okay, the gap behind is 2.2 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 11 laps old now. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Time last lap was a 1:23.6. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 3.0 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 4th. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 24.1. Gap to your teammate behind is 3.0 seconds. Okay, the static over the radio. Say it again. Okay, Russell's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 1.9 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. The last lap time was a 1:23.9. Okay, we have 3 scheduled stops remaining now. 3 stops remaining. Your pit window is going to open in 3 laps time. Pit window opens in 3 laps. Approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. Repeat that, I've got some interference here. Understood, copy that. Russell behind. We're leading the car behind by 1.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 16 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Time last lap was a 1:24.1. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good. Okay, we're boxing this lap to give us the best in lap you can. Copy that. Okay, we can take you this lap. teammate by 5.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in third. And the time last lap was a 1:24.7. So our fastest lap is at 1:22.9. Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres. Okay, that's Lawson ahead of you. Less than a second separates you. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 18 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Your last lap time was a 1:25.2. Leclerc is ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 3.4 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:24.3. Our gap to the car in front is 10.0 seconds. Okay, gap to the car behind. 2.0 seconds. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, car behind trailing us, 2.0 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are just 1 lap old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1:42.2. Make use of the overtake button and see what you can do. Yellow flag. Green flag. First position, front of the pack. Sergeant's behind you. Okay, push, gap to the car behind. 1.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 20 laps old. Okay, we think they've got at least 3 more stops. Your last lap time was a 1:25.2. Very Okay, so the gap is 2.0 seconds. Time last lap was a 1:22.3. Gap to your teammate behind is 7.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're currently 5th, and the time last lap was a 1:41.4. Copy. Okay, 2 stops left now, 2 stops. Russell behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 2.6 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1:23.7. Confirmed. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Our gap behind is 2.1 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 6 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:22.4. our teammate by 11.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in fourth. For the time last lap was a 1:23.5. Gap to your teammate behind is 11.8 seconds. Russell behind. Okay, the gap behind is 2.0 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1:22.5. You're leading the pack, that's P1. Okay, Russell's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 2.6 seconds. They're on fresh softs. You've got 10 laps until your pit window opens. Pit window opens in 10 laps. We've still got 45 laps to complete here. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 13.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in fourth. Time last lap was a 1:23.2. Russell behind. We're leading the car behind by 1.4 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 9 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1:22.8. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat the message. Please repeat. You're breaking up. You've got 2 stops remaining now. 2 stops remaining in this strategy. And that's 6 laps until your pit window's open. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, gap to the car behind. 1.4 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 11 laps old now. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1:23.0. Gap to your teammate behind is 12.2 seconds. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Okay, we're approaching the pit window. You're going to be on softs. Russell behind. Okay, car behind trailing us. 1.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, they've done 15 laps on those tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1 minute 24.0. I didn't catch that, mate. Just say it again. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, push, push. Gap to the car behind. 2.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 16 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1:23.2. Okay, the pit window's open, so let's box this lap. Box this lap. Got that, confirmed. Understood, stopping this lap. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 15.9 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 4th. The last lap time was a 1 minute 23.8. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap. Okay, 1 stop to go, just 1 stop left in this strategy. Norris behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 19.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 18 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:23.9. We're currently trailing our teammate by 5.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in third. And the time last lap was a 1:23.7. Jack's coming in for his stop now. Piastri ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 10.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 19 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1:24.1. P3, you're currently in P3. Okay, Piastri just ahead. Push hard, push hard. And gap to the car in front is 9.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Norris is behind you. Our gap behind is 6.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Our gap to first place is 16.1 seconds. 16 laps now until your pit window opens. And that's 33 laps to go. Okay, 40 laps of fuel left. Russell behind. They're on fresh softs. We think they've got 1 more stop. Okay, so the car behind's just come in. They're now on the soft tyre. Soft tyres on the car behind. You're in first position, front of the pack. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. Gap to your teammate behind is 19.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. They're 8th. Time last lap was a 1:39.6. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 19.3 seconds. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 6.8 seconds. They're on fresh softs. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:38.9. Okay, copy that. Russell behind, and the gap behind us is 6.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. We think they've got one more stop. The last lap time was a 1:21.7. Understood, copy that. Okay, Russell's behind you now. We're leading the car behind by 4.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:21.7. Okay, the static over the radio. Say it again. You only have to stop once now. One stop left. You've got 10 laps until your pit window opens. Pit window opens in 10 laps. that. I've got some interference here. Russell behind. Okay, gap to the car behind. 4.5 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 6 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 21.8. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message, repeat the message. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, car behind trailing us, 3.8 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:21.8. Russell behind. Okay, push, gap to the car behind. 3.4 seconds. They're on fresh softs. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1 minute 21.8. Copy that. Gap to your teammate behind is 25.0 seconds. They're on fresh softs. They're currently 6th, and the time last lap was a 1:23.8. Please repeat, you're breaking up. Alright, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Your pit window opens in 5 laps time. 5 laps. No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being. Okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.6 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 22.2. No threat of rain for the time being, conditions look good. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 25.0 seconds. Copy. Okay, we're approaching the pit window. You're going to be on softs. So far, our fastest lap is a 1:20.2. Russell behind, Our gap behind is 1.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1 minute 23.6. Okay, we lost the position. Try to keep focus. Okay, we're boxing this lap, give us the best in lap you can. Confirmed. Pitting this lap then, coming to the pits at the end of this lap. Tyre condition still looking good. Okay, the gap behind is 8.6 seconds.
Looks like the pit crew are out in the lane and ready to perform their magic on the car. They're going to be aiming to achieve the fastest pit stop time possible.
Okay, radar is clear, weather is looking good for now. Okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now. Albon ahead. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 18 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:23.3. Jack's behind you, and the gap behind us is 1.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 17 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The last lap time was a 1 minute 23.5. back in the pits. That's Russell just ahead. Push for the position. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 4.1 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are just one lap old. Time last lap was a 1:39.2. Leaving the car behind by 8.0 seconds. I didn't catch that, mate. Just say it again. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, gap to the car behind. 8.0 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are just one lap old, and the time last lap was a 1:38.9. Starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Okay, sat in P2. Okay, Russell's ahead. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 3.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Piastri's behind. Okay, car behind trailing us. 8.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 13 laps to go. Okay, so that's 17 laps of fuel remaining. Russell's ahead of you now. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 2.8 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. Your last lap time was a 1:21.2. This is great stuff. We're gaining by 0.3 a lap. Good work. Gap to your teammate behind is 25.6 seconds. Second place, you're in second place. That's Russell just ahead. Push for the position. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, push, push. Gap to the car behind. 12.5 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. And that's 8 laps to go. And that's 11 laps of fuel remaining. ahead, well done, but be aware these tyres need to get us to the end of this race. Okay, clear. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. 9 laps of fuel to go, 9 laps left. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 31.5 seconds. They're on fresh softs. They're currently 6th. Time last lap was a 1 minute 22.3. Gap to your teammate behind is 32.0 seconds. Green flag. You're leading the pack, that's P1. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. That was our last stop, no more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. 4 laps remaining. caution. Just 5 laps of fuel remaining. Okay mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. Fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserve that race win. Well done, mate.
It's victory in Budapest then, and what a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix. Natalie, fill us in. What was it that helped the team achieve their success today?
For me, today, the race was the perfect blend of thrilling overtakes, but also looking after those tyres and really making the stints last just that bit longer.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Let's focus on driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Richards.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.